Did you know the average home holds over 300,000 items? And after 60, what once felt comforting can quietly turn into chaos. You might not notice it at first, but the drawers that won't close, the shelves you avoid, they all add up. Here's a question: what's one thing in your home that drives you crazy, but for some reason, you still haven't let it go? This isn't about jumping on a trend. It's about creating peace, protecting your safety, and making space for what truly matters. Let's clear the clutter and take back your calm, starting now. Meet Helen, a 67-year-old retired nurse with a gentle smile and a home full of stories. She spent 35 years in the same cozy house where her kids grew up, holidays were celebrated, and life unfolded. But over time, something began to change. The drawers stopped closing. Closets became black holes of forgotten items. Her once warm, familiar space started to feel like a burden. Helen never considered herself a hoarder. She just held onto things she thought she might need one day. Extra blankets, old birthday cards, kitchen tools she hadn't touched in years. She kept them just in case until one day, while searching for her favorite scarf, she broke down in frustration. That moment hit her hard. She was spending her golden years managing clutter instead of enjoying them. "I thought holding onto things meant holding onto memories," she said. "But I was really just holding onto anxiety." Helen's story isn't unique, and that's what makes it so powerful. Many of us reach a point where the stuff we've collected starts to take more than it gives. Helen decided to take small steps, letting go of one item at a time. Not everything was easy, but the more she released, the lighter she felt. Her home became a place of comfort again, not chaos. And that's what this video is about, helping you create a space that supports your life today, not yesterday. After 60, your home should feel like a place of rest and renewal, not a source of stress. But as we age, clutter doesn't just take up space, it drains energy. The little things we once overlooked become daily obstacles. Tripping over a loose shoe or struggling to find a needed paper isn't just annoying, it can be dangerous. Clutter quietly raises the risk of falls, collects dust that can trigger allergies, and makes cleaning feel like an uphill battle. But the impact goes beyond the physical. When your home is filled with too much visual noise, stacks of papers, crowded countertops, overstuffed closets, it overstimulates the brain. That constant visual reminder of things to do, fix, or sort can create decision fatigue and mental fog. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you were there? You're not alone, and believe it or not, clutter may be part of the reason. Studies show that disorganized spaces make it harder to focus, remember tasks, and relax. That's why decluttering after 60 isn't just about tidying up, it's about protecting your peace, your safety, and your clarity. It's a gift you give yourself every single day. So ask yourself, what in your home is no longer serving you? What small change today could make your life feel lighter tomorrow? Let us know in the comments, has clutter affected your focus or energy lately? Now let's break down the 20 things that shouldn't be in your home in groups. Group 1. Forgotten, broken, or useless items. Let's start with the easiest wins, the forgotten, broken, or downright useless items hiding in plain sight. You know the ones. They're not just cluttering up space, they're quietly draining your patience one drawer at a time. First up, single socks and unmatched Tupperware lids. We've all kept them, hoping their other half might magically appear. But let's be honest, if it's been missing for more than a week, it's not coming back. That sock's partner is long gone, and that lid? It's just taking a free ride in your drawer. These tiny orphans pile up and take space from the things you actually use. Next, cords and chargers for electronics you no longer own. If you have a mystery cable sitting in a box, and you haven't used it in the last year, it's probably safe to let it go. You're not alone. Helen, from earlier, found 7 phone chargers in her kitchen junk drawer. None of them fit her current phone. Now let's talk about expired medications. They're not just unnecessary, they can be dangerous. Medications lose their effectiveness or even become harmful over time. Go through your medicine cabinet with a trash bag and a magnifying glass. Safely dispose of anything out of date, your health is too important to risk over a forgotten pill bottle. And finally, instruction manuals for appliances you don't even own anymore. If that old coffee maker went out 5 years ago, why is the manual still in your drawer? Most manuals are available online now anyway, so there's no need to keep physical copies unless it's something you use regularly. These items may seem small on their own, but together, they create silent chaos. Clearing them out gives you immediate relief. Less clutter in your drawers means less frustration when you're looking for something important. What's the oddest or most outdated item you've found while cleaning out a drawer? Tell us in the comments, we'd love to hear your story. Group 2. Duplicates you'll never use. Now let's talk about the sneaky kind of clutter, duplicates you'll never use. These are the items you kept just in case, but that case never seems to arrive. And what happens? They quietly pile up, taking over drawers, shelves, and precious storage space. Take a peek in your kitchen. How many can openers or measuring spoons do you really need? One good one is usually enough. But somehow, we end up with 3 or 4. Helen found 4 measuring spoon sets and 2 electric can openers. I didn't even like the second one, she laughed, but I kept it just in case the first one broke. And let's talk about coffee mugs. We all have our favorites, the one with the perfect handle, or the one that reminds us of a vacation. But the rest? The chipped ones, the promotional mugs from some long-forgotten event, or the world's best grandma mug you've never used? They're just filling up your cabinet. If you're only using 2 or 3 mugs regularly, the rest are just crowding the space. Now, onto old phones and chargers, a modern kind of clutter. These outdated devices often get tossed into a drawer and forgotten. You might think, maybe I'll need it as a backup, but let's be honest, are you really going to fire up that 12-year-old phone with the cracked screen? If you haven't touched it in years, it's time to responsibly recycle it. And finally, stacks of towels and sheets you never rotate. Most households only use the same few sets over and over. The extras just sit in the linen closet, untouched, taking up space. Keep what you love and actually use, and donate the rest to a shelter or animal rescue. They'll put those to good use. The key is this: if you haven't used it in the last year, and it isn't a true emergency backup, it's probably safe to let it go. Clearing out duplicates doesn't just free up space, it gives you back control over your home. Be honest, how many coffee mugs do you own versus how many you actually use? Share your number in the comments below. Group 3. Outdated papers and print. Let's dive into one of the biggest silent space stealers in many homes: outdated papers and print. If your home is anything like Helen's was, stacks of old papers quietly gather dust in corners, drawers, and on countertops, creating clutter that weighs heavily on your mind and your space. First, think about old phone books. Remember those thick, bulky books filled with hundreds of pages of local businesses and phone numbers? They were useful once, but now, with smartphones and online directories, they're just paperweight. If you still have a couple hiding in your home, it's time to let them go. Freeing up that shelf space can feel like a breath of fresh air. Then there are tax documents older than 7 years. Many people hang on to everything forever, just in case. But financial experts agree that keeping tax records for more than 7 years is usually unnecessary. If you're worried, talk to a trusted accountant, but most of the time, shredding old documents is a safe step toward decluttering. What about those greeting cards without sentimental value? Maybe you received a card from a distant acquaintance years ago or a promotional card from a company. If it doesn't bring a smile or meaningful memory, it's okay to recycle it. Keeping every card just in case turns your drawers into clutter zones. And then there's the mountain of junk mail and magazines. They arrive regularly, sometimes daily, and before you know it, they pile up faster than you can sort through them. It's easy to tell yourself you'll read that magazine someday, but chances are, it's been sitting untouched for months. Try setting a strict limit, keep only 1 or 2 current magazines and recycle the rest immediately. For junk mail, consider contacting the senders to reduce or stop deliveries. Clearing out old papers isn't just about freeing up space, it's about clearing mental clutter too. Papers create a visual distraction that your brain constantly registers as unfinished business, even when you don't realize it. What's the oldest paper or magazine you've found while cleaning? Share your surprising discoveries in the comments. You might just inspire someone else to finally let go. Group 4. Guilt items. Let's talk about a special kind of clutter that's tougher to let go of: guilt items. These are the things you keep not because you need them, but because you feel obligated to. They carry emotional weight, making decluttering feel like a personal struggle. First up, unused gifts you feel guilty throwing away. Maybe it was a sweater from your niece or a decorative vase from a neighbor, items you never really liked or used, but tossing them feels like you're rejecting the person who gave them. But here's the truth: holding onto things out of guilt only keeps clutter alive and steals your peace. Instead, consider passing these gifts on to someone who will appreciate them. This way, you honor the giver's intention by sharing kindness forward. Next, there's equipment for hobbies you gave up years ago. Maybe you bought knitting supplies, golf clubs, or painting sets, dreaming of picking them up someday. But life changes, and so do interests. Holding on to hobby gear you no longer use clutters your space and reminds you of abandoned plans, which can feel like emotional baggage. It's okay to let these go. Donating or selling them can give others the joy you once hoped to find. Then there are clothes that no longer fit, but you're holding on to for someday. You tell yourself, "I'll fit into this again someday," but sometimes someday doesn't come, or it becomes an unhealthy focus on the past. Instead of stuffing your closet with these clothes, try taking photos of your favorite pieces to keep the memory without the physical clutter. Then donate what you can to help others feel good in clothes they need right now. Remember, letting go of guilt items isn't about being cold or careless, it's about freeing yourself to live fully in the present. Helen once told me, "Letting go was like forgiving myself." That freedom is priceless. Prompt: have you ever held on to something just because of guilt? What helped you finally let it go? Share your experience below, it could inspire someone else to take that step. Group 5. Visual clutter. Let's explore a type of clutter that's easy to overlook but constantly affects how you feel in your home: visual clutter. It's those walls, surfaces, and spaces so busy that your eyes, and your mind, never get a chance to rest. Take a look at your walls. Are they overcrowded with photos, calendars, and trinkets? While memories are precious, too many frames or decorations can make a room feel chaotic rather than cozy. Helen used to have every wall covered with pictures, postcards, and art. It felt like walking through a museum, but not a relaxing one. She found that by selecting just a few meaningful pieces, her rooms felt calmer and more inviting. Now think about your refrigerator, covered in magnets, notes, children's artwork, appointment reminders, and coupons. It's easy to keep adding to this collection, but it can turn a central part of your kitchen into visual noise. Try limiting magnets and papers to just the essentials, rotating artwork and notes regularly to keep things fresh without overwhelming your senses. Then there are figurines and knickknacks, those little treasures collected over years, sometimes decades. While each one might have a story, when they crowd shelves and gather dust, they can create a sense of disorder and distraction. Instead of displaying every item, consider grouping a few favorites together and storing or donating the rest. This way, each piece gets the attention it deserves without overwhelming your space. Visual clutter can subtly drain your energy and contribute to feelings of anxiety or restlessness. Clearing it out isn't about removing memories, it's about making room for peace and clarity in your everyday life. Helen said it best, "Clearing my walls and surfaces gave me space to breathe, and to enjoy the moments happening now." What's the most surprising thing you've taken down from your walls or cleared off your fridge? Share your stories below and inspire others to create calm in their homes. Group 6. Hidden safety hazards. Let's get real about something that often hides in plain sight: hidden safety hazards in your home. After 60, your space should be a sanctuary where you feel secure and comfortable. But everyday items that seem harmless can quietly put you at risk. Take area rugs that curl up at the edges. They might look cozy and add warmth to a room, but those curled or loose corners are one of the most common causes of trips and falls. Helen recalls nearly taking a hard fall when she caught her foot on a rug corner she didn't notice. Fixing this can be simple: use non-slip pads or remove rugs that aren't flat and secure. Then there's wobbly chairs or unstable furniture. Over time, wear and tear can loosen joints or screws, turning something you trust into a hazard. That favorite armchair or kitchen stool might seem sturdy, but a sudden wobble can cause dangerous falls. Take a moment to test your furniture regularly and tighten or repair anything that feels shaky. And what about that old stool you've meant to fix for years? It's easy to ignore small repairs, especially when life gets busy. But these little delays add up and can turn everyday furniture into serious risks. If you can't fix it yourself, consider asking a family member or hiring help. It's worth it for your safety and peace of mind. Safety hazards like these are often overlooked because they don't scream danger. Instead, they quietly increase your risk of injury, making your home less of a haven and more of a hazard zone. Helen's story reminds us that small changes make a big difference. After fixing her rugs and replacing unstable chairs, she felt more confident moving around her home, and that peace of mind is priceless. How many of these hazards do you still have lurking at home? Share your number in the comments, no judgment, just support. Let's look out for each other and make our homes safer together. Letting go isn't about being ruthless or cold, it's about creating space for peace, comfort, and freedom in your life. For many, including Helen, this was the hardest part. She worried that donating belongings meant losing memories or part of herself. But her moment of clarity came when she realized she didn't actually miss the things she gave away. Instead, she felt lighter, both physically and emotionally. Holding on to every item just in case or because of sentimental guilt can weigh heavily on your heart and home. But memories aren't in things, they're in your mind and your stories. A helpful tip: if something truly holds sentimental value but no longer fits your space or lifestyle, take a photo before letting it go. That way, you keep the memory without the clutter. Remember, decluttering is an act of kindness to yourself. It's a way to honor your past while making room for today's joys. Helen found that as she released items, she gained something priceless: peace of mind. What's one item you've struggled to let go of? Share your story in the comments. We're here to support you on this journey. Starting to declutter can feel overwhelming, especially when you're staring at an entire room or closet. But here's the secret: you don't have to tackle it all at once. Begin small, just one drawer, one shelf, or even a single cabinet. This tiny step makes the process feel manageable and less intimidating. Use a simple system to guide your decisions: keep, donate, toss. When you pick up an item, ask yourself, do I need this? Is it useful or meaningful? If not, is it something someone else could use, or does it need to be thrown away? This clear method keeps you focused and helps avoid second guessing. Set a timer for 15 minutes. It sounds short, but those focused minutes add up quickly. When the timer goes off, give yourself permission to stop or take a break. Small bursts like this prevent burnout and make decluttering part of your routine instead of a dreaded chore. Helen started this way, and it worked wonders. She found that breaking the task down made it easier to keep going. And here's a teaser: there was one item Helen finally let go of that surprised even her, and it might surprise you too. Stay tuned for that story in the next part of this video. What small space will you start with today? Tell us in the comments. Your first step could inspire someone else. The item Helen chose to let go of was her wedding dress, a beautiful gown she'd kept carefully boxed away for over 40 years. For decades, it represented more than just a dress. It held memories, hopes, and a connection to her past. But when she finally decided to part with it, she donated the dress to a charity that provides gowns to brides who can't afford one. That moment was powerful, not just because the dress was going to someone who truly needed it, but because Helen realized something important: she wasn't holding on to her marriage through that dress. She was holding on to a fear of moving forward. Letting go of the dress wasn't about losing the past. It was about embracing the future, making peace with what was and opening up space for new chapters. Helen said, "That dress was heavy in more ways than one. Once I let it go, I felt lighter and freer than I had in years." If you're struggling to let go of something meaningful, remember this: sometimes holding on to things can keep us stuck. But releasing them can open the door to healing and growth. What's an item you've hesitated to part with? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone else find the courage to move forward. Helen now says her home feels like a sanctuary, not a storage unit. She realized, after 60, your space should reflect the life you have, not just the one you had. Every item you release gives you back a little more freedom, a chance to breathe, relax, and enjoy your time. If this video helped you think differently about clutter, please hit that like button and share it with someone you care about. Your home can be a place of peace and joy at any age.